everyone, I'm Ơi. I'm sure all of you remember the guy who came up in the video the second time we have class. And that person is my favorite author, Brandon Sanderson. Today, I'm going to tell you who is Brandon Sanderson, why I keep reading his book, his world building and magic, his figurative speeches in his writing. And finally, there will be some questions. Now let's get started with the first topic. Who is Brandon Sanderson? This is Brandon Sanderson and he's an American author. He writes his famous series are Miss Bond, The Stormlight Archive, The Emperor's Soul, which won the Hugo Award for Best Novella in 2013. I'm not sure if you ever heard of that award, but it's the book is very good. I've read all of them, and Miss Bond has 7 books. He also teaches creative writing at Brigham Young University in Utah. It's in the United States. So, as some of you might remember that I've told you my favorite book is The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, and it has 1,300 pages. Why I keep reading such a long book? It's because the world building, which is the hallmark of Sanderson's writing style. I mean, his world building, like his fantasy worlds in his story, are very real and exciting and unique. This is an example of the map in Stormlight Archive. The land is called Roshar. Why is Brandon Sanderson's world building so captivating? Yeah, it's because there's not only just maps. There are also other things like the flora and fauna. That means the plants and the animals that live in the land. This is also from Stormlight Archive, which in Roshar there's a very scary storm called a high storm blowing past the land every few days. But this storm has a characteristic that it only blows one way. So the plants and the animals all have shells and carapaces, so they could have refuge when the storm comes. Like if you walk in this land, there will only be stone because the soil are all blown away by that time. And then there are also technologies and cultures. Most fantasy worlds will be the old-fashioned way. Most of them still use horses and carriages. But Brandon Sanderson worlds have development. They have scientists, they have technology in their own way. This is the example of an elevator which uses the power from a crystal. Like in that world, the crystal gave a kind of power, and there are a certain branch of science that deal entirely with this kind of thing. So he not only invent maps, he invent a new branch of knowledge, a new branch of science from a rule he make in his own fantasy world. There are also fashion. In this world, all women have to cover their left hand. If one revealed her left hand, then it is considered inappropriate. And all of these things create a sense of loyalty, a sense of, we call it inward reference and jokes. So only the readers understand this. If you talk with someone else, no one will understand because it's so intricately linked that it's virtually impossible to explain everything in the world. So yeah, it makes me loyal to all of his books. And there's also Sanderson's laws of magic. He stated 3 laws. Like in a fantasy world, there is magic, right? But most authors think that there mustn't be rules in magic because it will make it lost the sense of wonder. But Sanderson said that there must be rules and limitations to his magic, because if there are rules, readers can predict what will happen. And if we can exceed that expectation, it creates a stronger sense of wonder. That is why I am very addicted to his books, because the solutions to his problem, the way he uses his own magic, it's really great. These are the 3 rules. Be sure to remember some of them because there will be questions. And also, there are figurative speeches in Brandon Sanderson's writing. These are the quotes I like. This is my favorite quote actually. It's from Stormlight Archive also. Expectations were like fine pottery. The harder you held them, the more likely they were to crack. Yeah, I repeat this to myself a lot when I was preparing for the MWITS exam, because I can't expect others to be like inferior to me or to be less prepared than me, because expectations always crack. There are also bad metaphors or similes, but how can he do that without hurting his reputation, right? Because he's like #1 fantasy writer. He do that by using his character as a scapegoat. Like he once said in his writing class that if you are going to do something bad in your story, make your character a jerk, not yourself. Yes, and I really like that. This example, this one, he was right. I was letting myself get distracted, like a rabbit doing math problems instead of looking for foxes. It doesn't make sense, like, because rabbit doesn't do math problems. So there are bad metaphors, and you'll probably be frustrated if you like see this metaphor in the narrative. But by making a character who is bad at metaphor, like I have to work on that one. I have trouble with metaphors. Like it's become characteristic, and then it become hilarious instead of just like frustrating to read. Yeah, and this is a really funny joke I saw on the internet when I was searching for pictures to do this presentation. Cosmere is the universe of the fantasy worlds of Brandon Sanderson. So you see the papers and the red markers there, right? That's the simplest way to explain all the wonder, all the sense of like the way you are addicted to Sanderson's book. So it's like you can never really explain all of it. So yeah. And now, thank you for listening. You see, this is my own bookshelf at home. I took a picture of it, and these are all Brandon Sanderson's book. And I wish I have more. Now, time for the question. First one, how did Brandon make his fantasy world seem vivid and real? I will ask, let's say, Pao.
The way Brandon Sanderson made his fantasy world seem vivid and real is that he used many figurative language, such as symbols and metaphors.
Yes, that is correct. And also he created an environment that is linked to the world. So he imitated natural selection process and evolution process, so it seems real. Yes, the next one. Can you tell me one of the 3 laws of magic? Who haven't been asked today? Paris.
Louis limitation more than power อะไรนะ power ก่อน limitation more than
Yeah, the second one, right? Limitation more than power. My favorite law of magic is the third one. But expand what you have before adding something new. Because when writing a book, you always want to add something new, some new element, new ideas, without expanding on the first one. So if you expand it, like write about it in different views, it's going to make that writing seem like deep, and yeah, it will have depth. And now the last question: why are the examples of metaphors bad? And can you think of alternatives? This this one I'll ask
You want to make some character a jerk, then to make it good, and to add it as a brilliant story.
Yeah, so he uses bad metaphors to like keep the stories interesting, like, and the metaphors are bad because they don't relate with our everyday life. Like rabbits do not do math problem in the real world. Okay, let's skip over to this one. This is just a fun question. You saw the picture of my bookshelf, right? Can you guess? Someone must have told you. Yes, the answer is 22. Actually, I have 25, but I lent 3 to my friends and brothers. And the last one. This I am really like, which would you choose? These two are the two best fantasy novels of 2016 in the Goodreads. You know Goodreads, right? Yeah, in the Goodreads list. And after I've trying to brainwash you, why is everyone choosing Harry Potter? Okay.